Should there be a fire alarm, it's because there's a fire. So please make your way out from either the front door or the fire door to the rear. Item number 1, 22-21-1, to receive apologies for absence. Yes. I'd like to propose a dispensation for Councillor Nisa for September and October. Can I have a proposal for that, please? Thank you. Second, thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 22-21-2, to note declarations of interest and request for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. Does anybody have any declarations? No. Thank you. Item 22-21-3, open forum. I think those here know the routine for the open forum. It's restricted to 15 minutes and strictly 3 minutes per person unless the chair allows otherwise. Does any members of the public have a question or a comment? Okay. The motion, as you see it there, does contain commercially sensitive information, and that's contained within the heads of terms agreement. But all of this information has been made available to all councillors, purely because it is commercially sensitive. That's correct. Well, as has been said before by previous councils in the same situation, that councillors have been voted by the people of Handforth to make these decisions. So, as I've said, there is commercially sensitive information within this whole motion, which would be inappropriate to pass out to everybody. The people of Handforth will be made well aware that once an agreement has been made between Cheshire East and Handforth, that a full disclosure will be made of that which is not commercially sensitive. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, no, sorry. The lease can't be signed until the heads of terms have been agreed. Heads of terms have been agreed, and as I've said, That will now go to Cheshire East, and they will start to draft a lease. So, as I've said, anything that will be made public will be made public at the correct time. Well, I'm afraid that's the answer that I've got for you this evening. And why would that be a problem? And I'll say what I said right at the beginning after your question originally, that in the same way that previous councils have made this decision themselves, we are doing exactly the same as those, because they were elected to make decisions. And you can remember a number of councillors making those comments, such as when the British Legion was being discussed, and they determined that that would be decided by the council because they were voted for by members of the electorate in Hamforth. Sorry, by a member of the electorate in Hamforth, and that's what we'll be doing now. Can we carry on, please? Next question. Yes. Thank you, Roger. Any more members of the public? Mrs. Walsh? Yeah. No. They've been paid for by the grant from Cheshire Police and from a grant from Onward. From Onward, yes. But the Onward have also given another amount to the uh, town council for those groups that you were saying. Yeah. That's why I actually said it was a different amount. Okay. Thank you. Many members of the public? So, so that's that's yes. Yeah. There is no current plan to get a loan, but yes, it is something that is an option from the local government bank, if you like. But okay. Thank you. End of the open forum. Item 22.21.4 to approve and sign the minutes of the Hampford Town Council Finance Committee meeting of the 12th of July. Does anyone have any issues? No? None? No? No, none. So, I have a proposal to accept. And a second, thank you. Those in favour? We're allowed to vote? Yes, thank you. 22.21.5 to approve and sign the minutes of the Hampford Town Council meeting of the 12th of July. Anyone have any issues with the last minute's meeting or the July meeting? No? Thank you. Have a proposal to accept. A second. Thank you. Vote those in favour, please. Yeah. Thank you. 22-21-6 to receive a report from PCSO. Do we have one?
We do.
Thank you.
These figures are for the last 6 weeks, summer holiday period. 3 burglaries, same method of entry via snapping the locks on the rear doors. A vehicle has been taken from one address, nothing from another, and no entry was gained at the third. All 3 occurred on the 28th of August. 6 reports of criminal damage, no pattern, no repeat victims, and not linked to any particular offender. 30 reports of concern for safety involving mental health or alcohol. These callers were not due to the regular individuals which I have previously referred to in other reports. Beg your pardon. Over the summer holidays, ourselves and youth services ran 4 sports and craft sessions for young people, which were funded by Onward Housing and which took place in local parks. Thank you to both Councillor Sampson and Councillor Julie Smith for coming along and helping us. Over the summer holiday period, we received 0 reports of antisocial behaviour. As much as I would love to be able to say that this was directly linked to the fact that we put on these summer sessions, as well as increased patrols in key areas we identified as potential issues, and local residents stroke councillors contacted me directly, usually before issues occurred. I am very aware that the likelihood is that people have been unable or unwilling to report incidents to us. Can I please again ask that if people are having issues, they need to let us know. If we don't know it's happening, we can't help. However, even if we take the 0 with a pinch of salt, the figures like this for antisocial behaviour over the summer holidays is fantastic, especially when most other areas have seen the regular seasonal increase.
Thank you very much. Item 22-21-7 to approve and sign the order of payments for September 2022. Does anybody have any issues regarding the order of payments?
No.
No? Good. I have a proposal to accept. Thank you. And a second. Thank you. Vote for those in favour. Unanimous. Thank you. 22-21-8 to receive a report from Ward Councillor Julie Smith. I believe that's to be deferred.
Deferring that to
Yes.
next month. Yeah.
Okay. Can we have a proposal to defer? Okay. Thank you. 22-21-9 to receive the external auditor's report. Okay. Run through it. I take it, everybody at their leisure. Any items that you think should be flagged, Ashley? No. So let's have it publicly said that the external auditor said that there is no issues. So result, a big tick in the box. Yeah. Thank you. Well done, Ashley. Item 22-21-10 to receive and approve the draft Handforth Infrastructure Delivery Plan from the Handforth Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group, which recommends future sales spending by HTC. And as Roger said, this document, as usual, is succinct and quality information from the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group, which we've come to expect. What it does is show a long-term list of objectives, which is similar to the project plans that we've had in the past, but this is for those what we call big ticket items, which some are HTC led, some Cheshire East led, and as you say, quite a lot dependent on the Garden Village.
Sorry to dive in, John. Councillor Smith, do we need to vote to accept that auditor's report? We didn't actually just done. Or not? Yeah. Okay.
No one's got any issues. No, that's fine. No, okay. Thanks. Yes, I was saying it's a long list, which we'd like to start making progress on as soon as we can. One of the main ones being the station car park, which will have a positive effect on the parking in Hanforth, we're hoping. But I think at the last meeting that we had with the group from the Garden Village, they were hoping for, when was it? October, November, September, October? Environment Agency. Environment. Yeah, the Environment Agency. Yes, they were doing checks on the boreholes, and once that is agreed and everyone happy with, that's when they will be looking for initial planning permission. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. So can I have a proposal to receive and approve that draft infrastructure delivery plan? And can I second that? So I've not jumped across everyone. No one's got any other comments on? No? Fine, thanks. Okay. And a vote for those in favour, please. Thank you. 22/21/11, motion to agree the draft heads of terms proposed by Cheshire East regarding lease of the Hanforth Youth Centre to HTC and to approve the execution of a lease to be reviewed by HTC solicitors. As I said before, all this information has been made available to councillors, and I'd like a proposal to agree that we go to the next stage and discuss and pass this information on the draft heads and terms to Cheshire East.
Can I just make a comment first?
So,
I just want to agree with what Mr. Moore said. It's a valuable asset to our community, this place. And I think if there's a chance that we may lose it, then we need to go all out to secure it for the community. It's used by so many groups and more groups wanting to use it. I've had an inquiry today, which I passed on, from a big group of people that want to start using it on one evening a week. And it is important that we keep it. I spend half my life here, so I know how important it is and how many people use it. And, well, yeah.
May I
So,
just
yes.
comment? If I could just say, just to allay some fears, that these things have been looked at very carefully by all councillors, by people amongst us. We have a great deal of experience, and at this moment in time, all the things that have been presented to us, we don't believe there's anything being withheld. The figures do stack up. Anybody with any business acumen can see that this place is underused, and raising the very small shortfall that there is between expenditure and income can be very readily covered by increased number of people who will use the youth centre. That said, even worst case scenario, we were to incur a loss, then quite frankly, the community should take that on the chin, because as Councillor Smith has just said, this is a very valuable asset that is used by very many people, and there is a huge danger that Cheshire East would take it away, knock it down, build houses, whatever, I don't know. But to them, it's no great asset. To us, it's very, very important as the last, excuse me, the last standing place that we can use here. So please have your fears allayed. We are not jumping into something with our eyes shut, our ears muffled, and our mouths shut as well. We have looked very carefully at everything. So We have been elected, as Councillor Smith said, we are incredibly sensible people, and the people of Hanford have put their trust in us to make these decisions. And so this is what we would like to do. I just wanted to say that specifically for Mrs. Walsh. Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
sorry.
I know, but
Sorry.
I just wanted to say that for you.
Sorry, just sorry. We're not in a position to do that. What I would tell anybody in Hanforth who asks the question, and as Sue said there, she has concerns that Cheshire East, if they retain control, could turn it into a car park, a block of flats, an old people's home, which is happening all over the place. That this would put a check on that. But what it also means is that Hanforth will have a community centre. It's never had one of any substance. There was a proposal a few years ago by another council that we take over the place that was the old C of E school, but that was going to cost £45,000 a year. That was knocked back. What I would say is that on the numbers that we have, the cost to each household in Hanforth of this community centre would be £4.50 per annum for each household. At the moment, every time there's more bills going up, and I walked around. Yes, but as I looked around the Amwell estate yesterday evening, there's about 85 houses already on there, and there are another 160, I think, to go up there. And that will have an effect on the precept, and more precept will be coming in. And we've taken that sort of information into account so that we give a prudent assessment of, this is on with all councillors, with the exception of Councillor Lisa, who's indisposed, and all councillors have seen the numbers and believe that we are being prudent with this. But there is more room for further incoming revenue. Roger. Heads of terms are those areas within, I'm sure I've got a copy here of the actual heads of terms, here we are, which give the lessor and the lessee. So we've got Cheshire East Hanford Town Council, the property concerned, the term, the rent, premium, permitted use, alienation, so we wouldn't be allowed to change the lease, condition of the property, etc. Insurance, nuisance. It's nice to know that our insurance policy currently covers the insurance required on this building as well, without any further expenditure, with a £10 million public liability. And it's those sort of rights that would form the basis of a lease. And the fact that we've now had agreement between both parties, and we now have a summary heads of terms document, which all councillors seen and agreed, those heads of terms. And that will go to Cheshire East Legal, and they will start doing the work on the lease based on the heads of terms, filling in the gaps. Okay, you're welcome. So I will ask, can I propose to accept the draft? Yes, thank you. And a second, thank you. And can I see those voting in favour, please? Unanimous. Thank you. 22-21-12, motion to provide a donation to Hope Central for an amount up to, well, we currently have £500 in the budget. You want to take that, Sue?
This was an item that came up on the previous meeting, and Councillor Sampson and myself were asked if we would go to Hope Central because there seemed to be some doubt about the need for money. So myself and Councillor Sampson did that, and we had a very extensive discussion with the lady in charge, and it is quite apparent that there is a growing need in Handforth. In Hope Central, it isn't huge, but it is a growing need. However, it isn't just about supplying food and all the rest of it, because there are a lot of people who go there for other reasons, and Hope Central provide a whole range of support services that help people in their general day-to-day living, and there are one or two courses that people can go on, but it isn't just going on the courses, it's having somebody there that they can go to for advice and help and so forth and so on. And Hope Central would be very grateful to receive this money. Their need is growing across the board, so I would like to put to the council that they support this motion.
Just ask. It is going for food parcels. Going
It is,
towards
yeah,
food parcels, not for the other services, because
No,
I
no,
do believe
food
that they're
parcels,
funded
no,
elsewhere.
No. What I
Right.
meant by the comment was that people just come
Yeah.
in there, and by doing that, they get other advice and things from people. They don't, they will go and talk to people, and sometimes all they want is somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
And it's a vital service.
Yeah,
And
it
we
is.
all know, don't we, that things are, as Mr. Small pointed out not long ago, we're in a period of huge change. Who knows what's going to happen over the next few months?
Yeah.
We don't know. But the need is definitely there.
Yes, Councillor Moore, we have currently 500 in the budget for, what line's it under, Ashley? Food bank, yes.
Yeah.
So would you be happy with that amount for this time?
Yes, yes.
Okay, can I propose that we have a donation of £500 to Hope Central? Can I have a second? Thank you. Those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Item 22, 21, 13. To receive recommendation from the HTC Environment Committee with the purchase of air quality monitoring equipment up to a maximum of £600. Sue.
Yes, this is an item that came up some months ago, came out of my concern, along with a lot of other people, that we now have, I'm particularly thinking about schools here, but there's no reason that this monitor can't be used elsewhere. We have an increasingly large number of vehicles that take children to and from school, and those vehicles pollute the atmosphere, and particularly they pollute the air around schools. I would like to monitor this to see how good it is, how bad it is. We don't know. It's a big question mark, but it's one of the biggest questions and the most difficult thing that we are going to have to face in the coming years. Global warming and climate change is here. It isn't in the future. It has arrived. And I know everybody is dealing with lots of other issues, but there will be many more issues brought about by climate change if we don't try and do something about it. And finding out what level of pollution we have is the very first step. Once we have that information, we can take it to schools, we can take it to whoever, whatever is necessary, wherever we decide to use it, and present that information, and then hopefully put forward a plan to change things. So I would recommend that the council support this motion.
Any comments?
A comment actually. We discussed this during the environment committee, and the reason we haven't actually got a recommendation to spend the money and buy these, because we deferred it in the committee, was that there was a bit of discussion about whether it was required. I mean, it's certainly not something I've done a ditch about, but it's for me at the moment I've not had something that makes me think we have a very clear strategy for using the kit. The concept of going and measuring air outside schools, presumably during school drop-off or pick-up when there's going to be lots of cars around, for me sounds like we're going out to try and prove something we suspect is the case anyway, to make recommendations that we should be trying to implement anyway. So we do have annual air quality data already. We do have potentially some things that we can be doing to try and address climate change. But for me, buying equipment that we would have to calibrate annually, we would have to have a very defined way of structure of how we're going to do the sampling, as well as have a kind of a basis for doing a survey that isn't really trying to confirm what we already strongly suspect is the case. For me, I'm not sure we need to spend this money, and that's where the debate came.
Please do.
One of the biggest causes of pollution, as you well know, is cars, and trying to get people out of their cars and into some other mode of transport is going to be the most difficult thing that this country has to face. At the school near where I live, St Benedict's, they have the benefit of a car park, which is just at the top of the road. It is not used. It is used by some parents, but not much. Not like at the Grange, where there are no parking facilities, so it's all on the street. Many approaches have been made to parents about parking in the car park and walking their children down to school. It's, 300 metres? I don't know, I'm not good at measurement. It's not very far. It's very difficult. The parents are not willing, hence you get cars that are parked on the corners of roads, across people's driveways, and basically as close to school as you can possibly get. My thought is that if we have this data that we can give to the parents and say, look, this is what it's like at peak times when you drop your child off at school. This is what it's like during the summer holidays or the Easter holidays, whatever it might be. It could be the starting point for some form of discussion. It's not going to be easy, I don't deny that, but somebody has to have the discussion and something has to happen. And this, for me, would be a starting point. So that's how I feel. I understand and I accept your concerns and reservations. With regard to calibration, it's relatively cheap. We have equipment calibrated on an annual basis. It's not a huge cost. And I would suspect you're probably right. It probably does have to be calibrated every year. But in the overall scheme of things, I don't think that that's a huge cost. However, the cost to our children's lives and the climate, even just doing this little bit, might help. It's got to start somewhere, and if we all did a bit, it might help.
Sorry, Councillor, I just wanted to respond. The issue about cars parking right outside the school, rather than parking a couple 100 metres or so away and then walking in, for me is a slightly different issue to the emissions, because if a car's driven to the car park and then walked in, ultimately it's probably emitted pretty much exactly the same emissions as if it had driven 100 metre difference in distance.
What we're talking about is the atmosphere created around the school. That's what we're bothered about, and that's what I don't know. What could be barking up a gum tree, as they say. I don't know. But my concern is there are more and more children annually who have asthma, and various respiratory diseases, and they know that our atmosphere is not good. It's more so in towns and cities, I have to admit. But how do we know if we don't measure it?
Can we not use the annual data that's put together?
Well, it's not measuring outside our schools, is it?
Not precisely, no. But the kids only spend a very small portion of their life actually going in and out through the gate. What people are actually exposed to is
that's
the
very
atmosphere
true,
generally on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, it's a good point, but we have to start somewhere, and for me, this is the starting point. It's the small.
I appreciate what you're saying. How is that information given to the parents? How do you?
That would be a matter for the head teachers to.
No, I mean, how? I'm looking here and it's saying that it's measure PM 6.5.
Yes, it's all technical. Yeah. It would have to be put in terms, obviously terms that are strictly correct, but it would have to be put in layman's terms, if you like, because I don't understand all of it. I don't pretend to. So yes, it would have to be put in straightforward terms to say, look, this is what happens at X this period of time, Y, and Z, whatever. However, it's decided to present that information so that it was easily understood. Because you're quite right, there's no point in putting that out. Nobody would understand of any it's gibberish. Well, it is gibberish, but to the lay person, it is.
Yeah, I think we if we got the results that we were after, basically, I think we would be quite at risk of just being accused of going out and getting the data that we were after. If you go out and samples air, for example, next to a motorway in very still weather conditions, you're going to get higher data.
Let me make it very clear. I'm not after specific data. I simply want to know what the pollution levels are in and around Hampford. That's schools in the village. I mean, everybody must have noticed how much more traffic there is now in Hampford. I mean, our offices happen to be on the main road, and the traffic is phenomenal, backed up morning and evening all the way along the road. So there's another area of concern. Once you have data, then you've got information which can then be formatted in an appropriate manner and put to the general public.
Yes, sorry, Rogers. That's yes. I'll get you in a second. What I would be considering if we were to go ahead and get it is finding some means of having a quick and easy summary of this is how many CFCs your child takes in at that gate at St Benedict's every morning when there are X number of cars there.
Yeah.
This is how many CFCs there are when there's no cars there.
I'm already putting together a plan, and hopefully with the other people on the group, to put forward a very simple, probably a 5-pointer kind of message, which says, this is what your car emits. You don't want chapter and verse because people won't read it. You want bullet points. This is what your car emits. This is the amount of pollution. How you could save money in your home by doing X, Y, and Z. Just a few simple pointers that people could do, and this would formulate part of it.
Is it possible to get a rental to test? Get a rental version to test?
I don't know. That's the clerk didn't provide us with any information for rental, but I would have thought it's relatively.
Do we? We've talked about going and doing sampling outside schools. Do we have the support of the head head teachers of the schools for this already, or is this something that we're
The
gonna
head
propose to them?
teacher of St Benedict's is greatly supports anything that can be done about the parking and the number of cars that visit the location. It is a concern of hers. I haven't spoken directly because there is a new head now at your school, is there not? I haven't spoken directly to them, but I'm fairly certain that their concerns will be the same as many heads of schools, that they all face the same problem. But I don't want to make this about schools. It isn't just about schools. It's about the locality. You know, yes, we can use it as a tool to try and help people, but it's about the whole area, and it can be used in the whole area. So,
Roger? Thank you.
okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you employed an expert, you're going to go into even more money. I don't know which particular tester we would purchase. There are a number, and one has not yet been selected. If you're talking about outside schools, then the pollution level must be at child height. If you're talking about in the village, that's something very different. And that's the kind of thing that we would get information on to see, you know, what's the best way of doing this? How would you perform a particular test in this locality? So that would all be done before the test was done. And then obviously the information would have to be presented in the correct format. No, absolutely. And as this is my motion, if it goes through council, then I would be responsible for making sure that that was done in the most efficient manner and professional manner that we could. I mean, I take on board all the comments. I'm always prepared to listen to what people have to say, and I understand Councillor Mills' concerns. Take them on board, listen to them, analyse them, and think about it, and you know, factor it in to whatever it is you're going to report. But the starting point is: does the council want to do it? If it doesn't, then fair enough. It's a decision by all of us. Yeah.
On the motion, it says to receive recommendation from the Environment Committee. Did the Environment Committee agree? This sounds.
Well, actually, no. Yes, thank you, Ashley. It's actually a proposal from me because it's a proposal that was brought forward from the last meeting, and as you know, I did try. I will get us all together. It's a bit difficult. Yes, Councillor Smith.
There's a meeting next Thursday, the 22nd of September, by the Highways and Transport Committee at Cheshire East. And one of the agenda items on there is a motion to discuss safer school streets. Now, this was something that a couple of councillors brought up at the last full council meeting, whereby they close streets and roads that schools are on between certain periods during the school day. Now, the jury's out as far as I'm concerned on this, because all I think that will serve to do is push the traffic further out. You're not going to get people to stop going, but that might be worth a look at.
As a group, I had a discussion with a number of neighbours about just the parking issue. We weren't talking about anything else, but we came to exactly the same conclusion, that if we start sticking yellow lines and time limits and blocking roads, it's just going to push the problem elsewhere. And I think you're absolutely right in that. So it has to be tackled in a different way. What that is, I've no idea.
That particular bit about parking close to a school, though, is very specifically to do with safety and road safety, as opposed to environmental, occupational health.
This is what the residents' meeting was about. It was about the safety of children, because if you watched, and I'm sure it's just the same outside the Grange, the parents strolling across the road, throwing doors open onto the road, and the children leaping out or leaping in or whatever it is. Sometime somebody is going to get injured, and because we've got more cars now, that chance increases with every additional vehicle. And plus, of course, that you then get most people that live around here know to avoid school time, but then you get things like tradesmen trying to get down the road and getting irate and so forth and so on. It's a whole host of issues, but that was the reason for our discussion, was we're concerned about the children and an injury.
Yes, but they're two different. Issues.
Yeah, they are two different things, but they also go hand in hand, because one can what's the word I'm going for? One can push on the other in terms of, you can roll the two things together. You know, you've got child safety, the actual physical thing, and then you've got this kind of air pollutant, whether it's there or not, maybe, I don't know. And that can be rolled together in the safety thing too, that it isn't safe to take your car all the way down there and sit outside with your engine running whilst you wait for 10 minutes and so forth and so on. I think the two do go in hand, so I do disagree with you on that one. I'll take on board what you say.
Yeah, I understand that there's a thinking that if someone is concerned about the fact that the way they're driving down that road is to the benefit of the children, because they're concerned that I don't want to knock those kids over because I'm driving down this road, and then might also be led to believe that yes, and I can also not bring my van this close, I might be able to take it and then bring it back and out of the way. So one might, as you say, lean on the other. Is there any value in the environment committee having another discussion to really give a list of pros and cons of?
If that's what the council would want us to do, then
would we find value in that?
Entirely up to the council. This is a democratic process, and it's up to the council to make that decision.
Yeah, there are a number of different balls all in the air, isn't there? With this discussion, would it be easier to present some actual facts and numbers to the council to make an opinion?
What we could do is we could look at developing like a structured survey plan, so we know kind of what we're going to be recording, and trying to generate some kind of meaningful and consistently taken data.
and perhaps take advice from other places
Yeah,
where
we can
which have
do
done the
that.
same thing. I don't think Canforth is the first council to think of this, is it? So, is there some information that can be gathered from somewhere else, what they found when they were doing it?
I'm not sure that. Well, yeah, I'm sure you can learn things from. Yeah, not silly. Yeah, we can learn things from things that other people have done. Of course, we can.
What I'm thinking
And
is
if
at the
that's what
moment,
you would like to do, if everybody's in favour of that, then if there's enough queries over it, fine. That's what we'll do. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm just thinking that there's a lot of different information to take on. Are all councillors happy that they've got enough to make a decision?
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe we link in with the head teachers as well, and make sure the schools are actually happy for us to are on board, because if they're not on board, the data's not going to. There's no point, is there? I mean, they'd likely to be on board, but if they're on board beforehand, they might be able to help us develop a plan and proposal.
Yeah, if you'd like to change the motion or just defer the motion, I don't know quite how we go with that one. Advice, Clark, please. I think we need to have a vote though to make sure that all councillors are. Yeah.
So, quickly, Roger. Yes. Yes. Yep, that's right. Yes. That's what they do. He's in prison.
I don't think I would.
I think it's hard enough getting them to put the bar across on a set of double yellows, and trying to get them out to schools and with readings, suspect readings perhaps.
Look, at the end of the day, we are spending residents' money. Hopefully, we're spending it wisely. So, if there are queries and further research that the council would like to be done, then I'm very happy to go away and do it. That is no problem.
Should we defer or vote to change the motion? Which would you prefer? Yeah.
Yeah? Motion to defer. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll second that. Have a vote. Those in favour of deferment? Thank you. Item 22, 21, 14. Motion is to agree the traffic management costs of £17.95 plus VAT for Remembrance Sunday, and to agree the cost for the pipe band of £500 for 2022. Ashley did well to get hold of a pipe band. They're going very thin on the ground at the moment. Lots of people doing different things after lockdown. However, one has managed to be secured, and the cost of this year is about 50 quid different from last fair, 50 quid less. So, and again, yeah, and as I tend to simplify things for my own purposes, the cost would be about 75 pence per household in Hamforth for a Remembrance Sunday parade, which, as we know, does get extremely well supported. Does anybody have any further comments?
I think it's one of the singularly most important events
Agreed.
that goes on in Hamforth during the year. Am I right in saying that Wilmslow are not having anything this year? Or? Right. think the numbers just grow year on year, don't they?
Yeah.
I think so too. It engenders a huge sense of community, doesn't it? I think it's super important.
Can I just ask, has everyone seen the War Memorial recently?
Sorry, say it again.
Has everybody seen the War Memorial recently? Someone's put a picture about that size of the Queen on, and lots of flowers, which is indicative of the people of Hanforth. Okay, no more comments? Did you propose it? Thank you. Can I have a second? Yeah. And can I have a vote of those in favour? Thank you. 22-21-15, motion to agree to spend up to the maximum budgeted value for the Christmas event in 2022 to take place on Saturday the 26th of November. And does anyone have any queries about that? The money spent, as you know, there is a Christmas fair, the children voucher prizes, bouncy castle, Father Christmas, Christmas tree, which has got that secured already. Yeah.
School competition.
Yes, and the children's prize voucher prizes, that's all included. And can I propose that we agree that motion? Yeah. Second, thank you. Those in favour? And hopefully we'll be looking for a full turnout by councillors, hopefully. You loved those donkeys, didn't you? Last year.
Donkeys.
Oh, the rides last year. It was a donkey, wasn't it?
Oh yes.
Yeah. There was
That was a great event.
There was that couple from Nazareth came through, didn't they? 22-21-16. Motion is to agree a spend of up to £700 for a new laptop for the office, as the existing laptop is coming to the end of its life. That laptop is currently about 10 years old. John Brooks had it, and somebody had it before him, which is going back 10 years. And there was a failure actually with it when we were doing a Teams meeting with Cheshire East 2 or 3 weeks ago, where it just wouldn't work. Couldn't get a connection to the Wi-Fi, and it was a case of switch it off and switch it back on again, sort of thing, which eventually worked. But it's due to be changed, and given the different systems that we might have to use, such as managing fuel heating settings, etc., there's potentially a facility that, whilst it might use quite a lot of power or memory, there would be a good usage of it. And I would say that there is a use has been found as well for the old one to be used elsewhere within the council. Thank you. Proposal. Second. Thank you. Vote for those in favour. Thank you. Item 22-21-17. Motion is to agree a spend of up to £1,000 for the production, I think that should say, and delivery of an HTC newsletter to be distributed in October, November.
Can I just ask where the £1,000 figure came from? A couple of £100. Oh, you mean to have them professionally printed?
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
That's what's been done. We've done that in the past. Yeah. Yes. Done that in the past. Yes.
Okay.
Can I propose that? Sorry, does anyone get any more queries? Up to? Yes. Yeah.
Just seemed high, that, to me.
You didn't say 800, did you? 600. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll finalise the numbers on it anyway.
How many are we printing? Oh no. No, we don't want 5 pages.
Can I just suggest that it's done later rather than sooner?
Yes, I suppose. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. I propose that. Second. Sam, yeah.
Yeah.
And a vote in favour, please. Good, thank you. 22/21/18. Notices and correspondence. Anything of interest, Ashley? Oh, sorry.
Just miss her out.
Okay.
Which agenda item? To receive notices and correspondence, mine says. No. 22/21/18, motion following assessment previous HTC community skip days. Agreed to fund a further 3 community skip days up to the maximum of £900. Smith.
I think the motion speaks for itself, but just to say that Onward are going to fund a couple as well, so we can have them in 5 different locations around the village again. But they are they've always been a success wherever we put them. People have always used them, and are grateful that they've had the opportunity to get rid of stuff that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to.
Saves fly tipping.
So,
I think there was an issue, if I'm right, about skip in the South Ward last time. I can't remember what happened. Right.
nowhere on Hallwood Road.
Yeah.
Oh, it was put on the car park, yeah.
It was here, and they came from
Right.
the South Ward.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Communicating that a little bit more.
Just want to make sure that all areas get, the same opportunity. Oh, right. Okay.
Notices and correspondence.
What's that?
Winslow Civic Service, the chairman, Councillor Frank McCarthy, and members of Winslow Town Council cordially invite you and your guests to join them for the Winslow Town Council Civic Service on Saturday the 9th of October, 10:30 a.m. And it's at the Sacred Heart and St. Teresa's Church, Green Lane, Wilmslow, Cheshire, and to stay afterwards for light refreshments. RSVP, répondez s'il vous plaît, by 30th of September 2022. Free car pack. So it looks like invite you and your guest is 1+1, is it? It's unlikely that I'm going to be available for that. So would the Vice Chair like to attend?
What date is it?
The 9th of October.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll represent us.
Okay. Do you want to respond to that, Ashley? And I'll pass it on to you. Thank you. Is that it for notices? Oh,
Church will be open Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday this week, Tuesday, Friday next week. Then hours available when the classes are. I spoke to Steve last week as well, and he said that we will be taking it out.
thank you. And next meeting, 11th of October. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reading challenge. Reading challenge.
Yeah.
It's Sarah's probably put it in the calendar, and my calendar hasn't updated for a while. Yeah.